Alright, here's the Denali. I finally got it back running this morning about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Got a couple hours of sleep last night and came and finished it on up. Yesterday I worked on the cylinder heads. I still haven't gotten the 823 head back from the guy at the machine shop. I called him the other day and didn't sound like he had even thought about touching it, and I just can't let this truck sit here. It's been sitting here since December 1st. I took him the head the day this truck got dropped off, and he hasn't done it. So anyway, I got a good deal on a set of 799 heads from my buddy, and went ahead and cleaned them up and got looking them over, checking everything out, and pulled them apart. I had to go to Summit yesterday morning to get the right valve springs for the cam in it. It's an LS3 cam. So I got those, got home, and started disassembling the heads, and noticed that all of the exhaust valves were pitted and rusted and were leaking. I noticed it because the heads were sitting on the bench, and I saw where it was seeping through the valves. So went ahead and pulled all the valves out, did some bowl work on it, cleaned up around the guide, laid out the head gasket on there, traced it out, and unshrouded the valves. And then I took and lapped the valves, cleaned them up real good, and put the new valve springs on. Put the driver's side is the one that failed, that dropped the valve seat. So I went ahead and put that side on, and then got it all done, and then came over here and pulled the 823 off and got the 240 799 on there. And the unfortunate thing is those headers that we had got for it, they weren't even close to fitting. So good thing I tried before I got too far off in it, because the head was off. I had the drive shaft out, the steering column or the steering shaft out, and it would not fit. I don't know what it's for, but it just would not fit. So punted on that. Unfortunately, I'd already cut the exhaust up, so I had to put that back together. Got that done, and all that was left was the intake. So I ordered one the other day off Amazon. I think it was $140 new, and unfortunately it's not going to be here till tomorrow, and I needed the truck today, so I had to pull the 2500 in and rob it to get this one going. So we're going out of town today, and I need to go ahead and get this thing tagged and insured and everything, and get it out of my shop and get it running so I can use it. So whenever the rectangular port comes in, if he ever gets done with it, then I'm gonna put on the iron block 6.0 that's over there on the other side of the truck, and I got plans for it. I'll reveal at a later date. But drove this thing around, seems to run pretty good. Hadn't really data-logged it or anything. I was pretty much up all night, just to try to get it done. And I was really impressed with how well the truck did with the 6.0 flat tops and 243s, and figured why not. According to the Excel calculator spreadsheet thing that I have, it should be like 11:1 compression ratio, and the truck's 10:9 compression ratio, which this is a flat top, but it has valve reliefs, and the truck is a true flat top. There's no valve reliefs, and it's the same head. I think the truck's got LS9 gaskets. I don't remember what I put on here. It was a BTR 2-pack for around $100, so whichever one that is for 6.0, 6.2. But like I say, I'll see how it does. There were quite a few differences in the rectangular port intake and The Cathedral, I had no idea. I guess, I never messed with it, never had them side by side, but fuel rails are completely different. The fuel rail connection on the Cathedral, the tabs are on the inside, and on the rectangular, they're on the outside. The fuel rail is fixed on the rectangular, whereas it's like a O-ring seal and has a little clamp that holds the little crossover tube on the other one. But they would not interchange. I spent more time trying to figure that out and make that work, and if you can see it, you can see it. I don't it's, what do they say, it's only temporary unless it works, and then it's permanent. So I'm not happy with it, but it's on there and it's working, and hopefully it'll be all right. I'll keep an eye on it. But the throttle body height's actually different too. It's higher on the Cathedral one, and the rectangular one is more flat on the top, so that's why the fuel rail wouldn't just sit down. So what it was is the injectors on the rectangular port were so short that it wouldn't go down far enough to seat in the intake. So that was a debacle. I spent more time trying to figure that out and get that on with the intake than I did doing all the cylinder heads and putting the motor together. I mean, it was just, it shouldn't have been that difficult, but it was, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was just trying to get it done. So, but anyway, it's back together, and my intake, the other Trailblazer intake, will be here tomorrow, and then I'll get that one back together with the TBSS intake. And like I say, I want to do some draggy pulls on it and see where it's at and see if there's anything to be had with it in the tune-up, and do some data logging, and it'll be interesting to see how this thing does as well. So that's it for now.